Hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Money and Mindset podcast. I am your host, Sharika Alford, and she is.
Anntricia Bray Smith.
We're here to motivate you to get out of debt, build wealth, and transform your outlook on life. Today, we are going to discuss myths about investing in the stock market. So, those untruths that you often hear. About investing in the stock market. Like, for example, you have to have a whole lot of money in order to invest in the stock market.
Yeah, I can see why that would um, turn me away quickly. Most of us, we don't have a whole lot of money when we get to thinking about stuff like that. It's for rich people and all that. Well, no, it's for people, everyday people just like you and I. You know, um, that is a way that we begin to build and establish wealth. Um, those people, for the most part, that are invested in the stock market, they're real human, just like you and I, working real life jobs, and just being wise with their finances. So um, it we can't get caught up in what's being told all the time without actually researching and understanding what the facts are as they relate to the stock market and any other thing that is going to want our money. Everything is designed to get our money. So everything, there's nothing guaranteed.
Right.
Everything we take a risk on, even when we go out and make purchases on things for our house and our foods and things like that. We're taking a risk on everything. And so the stock market is just another one of those uh, places where you have to do the research, and be wise and um, talk to people, ask questions to find out what it is that Hey, if it did not work, it wouldn't be the backbone for our um, commerce, our
Right. Our entire economy.
absolutely. So just think about that, are the things that you're hearing um, setting you up so that you too can win financially and build a legacy of financial wealth for your family? Or are the things you're hearing conditioning you to stay in the same place, not only in your mindset, but in your financial situation as well? So,
Yeah. And in all fairness, I get it. Investing has changed dramatically over the years. And previously and even now, whenever you see the movies, you see the market floor and you see all the middle-aged Caucasian guys in suit and ties, and so we have this image in our mind. But the reality of the situation is, like I said, things have changed. With all the competition among the different brokerages like Fidelity and Charles Schwab, Robinhood, etc., they're competing, and so you can purchase shares of stocks and or fractional shares for as low as $1, anywhere from $1 to $5. And so yeah,
I
where you
tell
at?
you what, if I had a dollar to spend, I would much rather take that dollar and invest it in something that can begin to uh, build wealth for me, rather than take that same dollar and take it to the convenience store down the street and gamble with wishful thinking. Because once that dollar is gone, if you didn't win, you just didn't win. But if I take it and apply it, that same dollar somewhere else, uh, over time, eventually it's going to build and become a win for me. So it's all about the mindset, more or less. It's all about um, that instant gratification that we so often have been conditioned to seek after. And so this is why, the lottery and the gambling, the casinos and different things like that It's that instant gratification that, oftentimes we're drawn to. Uh, we have to shift the mindset and think long term, think
Mhm.
generationally, and begin to learn and seek out the answers uh, as they are for um, time, because time change. And this is why, so much of our economy and stocks and investments and things like that have changed. But one thing's for sure, if it didn't work, it would not still be existing as it does, guys. So uh, begin to think about that.
Right. And if you look at charts, they have charts that will show you, even during the times where, the markets are down, if you look overall on the charts, it goes back up. So even though we may have a temporary period of times where it's down, it eventually works its way back up. And even, you know, regardless of what political party has the seats and whatnot in the White House, all the things. If you look at the charts, and compare apples to apples, it's pretty much it runs rank and rank the same. And guys,
Yeah, I
we're not.
think sometimes we operate in fear when
Hmm.
things go down. And so you don't want to get involved with this with a fear mentality. When your money is there, you want to leave it there, even when things look down. You don't want to go and make a haste decision and withdraw. One thing that I've learned is that time of crisis, especially in economics, uh, if you don't shift your thinking, you're going to miss the opportunities that come as a result of it when everything passes over. So I just needed to throw that in there while it was on my mind, and I'll hand it back over to you. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, no, I just wanted, me, I wanted to throw our disclaimer out there. Here at the Money and Mindset podcast, we are not financial advisors and we do not conduct ourselves as such. We are just sharing information with you based upon what we know to be true in our lives. And, it's a good idea if you know a reliable financial advisor to go talk to him. But I will say, be sure to do your own personal research. Research,
Absolutely.
research, research.
Absolutely. Yeah. People can mistake sometimes. They um, hear or see us on a platform and they think, oh, we're different from them. We are real people with real issues, with real life jobs and real situations and real financial challenges, just like you are. We're just using our voice as a sound piece for you to help give you the knowledge and help um, promote financial um, health
Literacy.
and wealth and literacy and all those good things, uh, so that you too can know that this is not just something for everybody else, it's for you too.
Hmm. Yes, ma'am. I believe it. It's for me. It's for
Yeah.
me and you.
you know Growing up, the stock market and having conversations about finances wasn't in our household. It wasn't something that we known. If it wasn't about some kind of insurance policy or something like that, we just did not hear about banks and stock markets and investments and things like that. And so there are a lot of misconceptions in our culture. There are a lot of misconceptions in our households and in our families. And so it just takes educating yourself. The education is out there, whether you're getting it on a podcast, whether you're surfing YouTube, whether you're searching Google, whether you're talking to somebody at a bank or an advisor, whoever, you know, in order to learn what's right and what's for you, you must do the research. There is no one size fit all formula when it comes to investments and stock markets and things like there. And believe me, in this time that we're living in, you can run into scams and other things like that. And so one of the things you certainly don't want to do is get involved in a scam. And I know that here recently, that has been one of the things that has been the forefront of media. It's just these illegal scams and things like that that are going on with your money. The
Mm-hmm.
way that you can um, distinguish of whether or not it's real or whether or not it's a scam goes right back to what I said before. This is not a get quick, uh,
Get.
rich,
Mm-hmm.
get rich quick type of thing. It is not an overnight um, something that's going to happen. If it's real, it's going to take time. If it is real, it's going to take time. We're not operating in that uh, get rich quick scheme of things. And so if it sounds too good to be true, you
It
put ten
probably is.
dollars you put $10 in today and somebody else comes and put $10 in over you, and next week you do the same thing, and you're building and you're doing all of this. Hey, it sounds too good to be true. Come on now.
Yeah.
It's going to
That's
take time to build wealth. And so just use that as a gauge. Is it something that you're investing and it's causing you to think long term, or is it something that you're investing that it's going to give you immediate gratification? And so you have to decide what's going to be best for you.
right. Yes. And again, educate yourself and research, research, and research. Because, you know, there are there are risks involved, whether it's long term, short term, other.
Absolutely.
There are risks involved, but there are ways to help mitigate those risks as well through wise and diverse portfolios that you're investing in. And something that, and Tricia, you mentioned earlier, you said taking your dollar to the convenience store, I guess buying the lottery ticket and gambling with it. That leads me into our next myth. Investing in the stock market is just like gambling. That is not true. It boils down to probability. Basically, it boils down to what's your percent chance of gaining. And so when you gamble, honestly, the house always wins. Your chance of winning is less than 50%. And depending upon what type of gambler you are, we get all excited. We get that what's that dopamine hit. We all the flashing lights in the casino, we win. Well, the machine may spit out $200, but we're not giving an account for the 500
Absolutely.
that you lost before you got the 200.
Absolutely, honey.
So, no, investing in the stock market is not the same as gambling. There are wise methods that you can use, speak with a professional, do your research, and um, have a healthy balance within a portfolio. Um, mix a good mix of stocks and bonds and stocks in different areas. So there are ways around that. So don't let anyone just tell you, no, I wouldn't invest in the stock market because it's just like gambling. That's not true. And like Ann mentioned earlier, our economic system is based upon the stock market.
Absolutely.
And so we all in a sense we all win, but you gambling, the casino wins, and that's that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you are listening to the Money and Mindset podcast with Anntricia Bray Smith and Sharika Alford. Today we're talking about myths associated with the stock market and investing in the stock market. So we appreciate you taking out the time to be here and join us today. We also appreciate our sponsors for sponsoring this podcast. And yeah, join us here.
So if you guys have anything else that you would like to add, maybe some myths that you've heard, some untruths, feel free to email us. You can send us an email to moneymindset@transformu, the letter U, broadcast.com. Again, that email address is moneymindset@transformubroadcast.com. And we will include that email in the show notes. Um, Another thing I'd like to mention with regards to investing, even if say you're invested in, yes, there are times when the markets go down and you look at your account, your portfolio, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've lost so many thousands of dollars. Well, that to me, that's not anything to get excited about, because it happened to me and probably, I imagine, a whole lot of other people back in March of this year. Our accounts dropped, but as long as you stay in the game, so to speak, as long as you don't panic and sell off what you own during those down times, it's not a realized loss. It's a paper loss, because if you look at if you're invested right now, they usually have graphs that you can look at and see how your portfolio has performed over time. You'll see that there may have been a dip in March, but more than likely by now, you know you've probably surpassed where you were back in February prior to the dip. At
Oh
least, I
yeah.
mean, that was the case for me anyway. So, and I'm sure it's probably the case for a lot of people that are invested. So don't get caught up in the emotional aspect of it. Just be wise. And like Ann pointed out, let's stay clear of the get rich quick schemes. I'm not one to do things like day trading, and I'm not saying that's a scheme. I'm just saying that that's not for me.
Absolutely.
Because that's something, it probably works for some. It works for some, but not for me. I'm more of a put it, in
Long term.
index fund and
Yeah.
long-term investments.
Yeah.
So that, just do your research and educate yourself. And as you are researching on these types of topics, be sure to share with you what you learn with your children. Your children, if you have nieces and nephews, let's try to help them get ahead of the game and help them be better prepared financially than we were, because this isn't something that I learned about, you know, in high school
Yeah.
or, or after.
This is something that I'm just learning. This is all new to me. I'm in my early years when it comes to investments and things like that. I started late. Hey guys, I started late, but I did start, and that's the
That's what's
only thing that
important.
matters. And so it's just that we start. So if you're like me and you're well over 40 and headed into 50, 60, 70, it's not too late. All that matters is that you start, but you must do the research and understand what it is you're doing, and look for long term, look generationally. um, when you start, it's not something that is just going to generate wealth overnight. So
Yeah, and despite which, I mean, if you were raised around about our time, what you heard was you get your good job and put your money in a savings account. You can't build wealth with with the savings account.
absolutely.
Now, I'm not saying don't save money, because yes, we do save money. There are reasons for us to have money saved for, what we may need more in
Yeah.
the near term. But in order to be able to outpace inflation, um, investing would be the way to go. And of course, stock market investing, that's not the only investing out there. Some people, they invest in real estate. That's a way if that's for you. But um, invest in business, but just know that saving is not going to get it. I mean, just think.
Saving alone. Yeah.
Yeah, no, saving alone is not
Yeah.
going to get it, because
Because
with
it
inflation.
doesn't grow. It doesn't grow like we hope. Uh, or like we've been led to believe that it does. It doesn't grow like that. So, um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that just about wraps up this episode. Just key takeaways. Investing is not just like gambling, and you do not have to have a lot of money to start. Do your research and just just start and spend time. Stay with it.
All right. I am Anntricia Bray Smith.
And I'm Sharika Alford, and thank you for joining us at the Money and Mindset podcast.